Hey guys, it's Yellow J here, and welcome back to Mona, episode 5 here in City Skylines. Now today we're going to be working on quite a number of different projects here around the downtown core. A lot of detailing in the style that we established in the earlier episodes for this part of the city. And so lots of wall-to-wall commercial buildings at the base of our skyscrapers, and of course lots of billboards and holographic ads as well. So right now we're focusing on this Apple store. I believe this big white awning thing is part of the building asset here for the skyscraper, and I thought it just looked a bit Apple store like, so I just kind of went with that idea with some Apple logos and some glass and some of these animated billboards above it. And by the way, if you caught that just a few seconds ago, you saw me convert that holographic Apple logo into a procedural object and resize it, which I hadn't done in this series until that point, and that's because if you do that, the PO'd hologram will just disappear the next time you load your save game, and that is unless you specifically use the test version of the additive shader mod. I'll link to that in the description below. And yeah, I don't remember who it was exactly who first realized that this was the reason that any PO'd additive shader props just disappear after reloading the game. It was someone on the CityWalk Discord, but either way, this was basically the point where I tried it out and confirmed that this is the solution. And yeah, it's pretty important because it's almost a sort of turning point for this whole series, and what we've been able to do so far. Honestly, it just lets me use the holograms way more because I can finally just resize them to fit buildings and certain areas and all of that. And of course, it also unlocks the PO modules function, so that we can get rotating and moving holograms, and I make some use of that later on in the episode. But to talk about what's happening on screen right now, you've seen me place that scrolling LED sign reminding everyone about a security check to get into this one building here, and then I just placed down some big chain link fences and some Sydney Metro ticket gates and a couple of police props. And of course, here in Mona, this would be normal. Businesses surely appreciate a lot of security, especially the big corporations here in the downtown core. They'd have great interest in keeping out anyone that they don't really want near them, right? And obviously, while that's the real reason behind all the security in Mona, to create a favorable environment for the corporations here, of course, we also need to sell it to our citizens as protecting their own safety, so that's what we've done. And yeah, other than that, we're also just going around this side of the downtown core with basically the same treatment that we've been going about so far, with lots of billboards and the Taiwanese and Japanese commercial buildings that already come with lots and lots of billboards, making this whole area look nice and colorful and bright. And some of these Naruto holos that we can now use PO on. So, as we just talked about that, so they are gonna make this whole part of downtown look a lot more complete. And once that's done, we'll move on to a couple of other projects that we have in this episode. So now we're back right next to our downtown showpiece, the big two-story plaza that we built in the last episode. And we're working on the next project here, so I placed down that big concrete piece to make a platform across our main street down there and peel some Ronix expressway pillars to hold it up. And I'm just continuing what I talked about in the last episode as well. I want lots of different buildings that exit straight onto this central plaza, but to show that this particular one is kind of more a case of the owner of this building, they wanted an exit straight onto the plaza and it wasn't planned this way. We're going to use different decals to show like this sort of disconnect from the aesthetic of the main plaza. And what this area is sort of an entertainment complex of some sort. And my line of thought is that it's in Mona's best interest to keep the elites that are bringing in all the investment into the city, keeping them happy, giving them reasons to stay. So this entertainment complex is going to provide part of that. And yeah, I just chose assets that, look a little gaudy, like maybe something you see in Vegas. Like the Vanilla Science Center asset, I think that's what it is, and I PO it, and also some buildings by Luminu. I think it's called the Utopia set, and they're the ones that look kind of silver with the black windows and red details, and yeah, they just look very futuristic and flashy in their own way. So yeah, and we can imagine that there'd be lots of casinos and things like that in here. And around this part of the city in general, mainly catering to the elites. Of course, I placed lots of Las Vegas billboards and whatnot around this plaza in the previous episode. And, obviously here in Mona, pretty much all vice would be legal so long as it brings economic value. At the very least for the elites, who the state is trying to attract and keep in here, as we mentioned. So yeah, gambling, prostitution, things like that, it brings in cash and it's going to be all around Mona. And for the working classes, there will be places catering to them as well in other parts of the city that we'll get to, kind of like what City Walk City Wall did in the Mars series. I really want that contrast and that inequality really expressed in our built environment here. So, like I said, I imagine this place as being kind of Vegas-y, high class sort of place. So you see me place this little boutique here, the Nespresso boutique, and just making it look really nice with lots of greenery and all that. And then since we're right here off the main plaza in downtown, I thought I would continue the theme with all the advertising. So what I came up with was a big water feature on the side of this Luminu Utopia building that would have the water dyed to look like beer, and essentially we can use it as a giant ad space for beer, right? So yeah, you can see me creating this little pool here with Lost Gecko retaining wall, and just put down some lovable pavement and a water surface prop. And then I used the Kaminogi waterfall asset, and in PO I just recolor it, and then I put a nice brightly lit Carlsberg logo at the top of all of that. Alright, so if you guys remember in episode 1 when we built that big elevated highway through the city, finishing up that block with the entertainment complex has brought us right up to that highway, so now we're moving on to a different style of neighborhood. So you can see me using these much smaller buildings because I want buildings that are going to fit underneath the highway. And yeah, because the highway is pretty high off the ground, there's lots of space we can use underneath it. And overall, this is just going to be kind of a very vibrant sort of residential and commercial area here at street level with lots of little shops and probably lots of informal businesses that are being run out of apartments and things like that. So I'm just going through the Find It menu with all these props for little shop signs and placing them on the sides of these buildings just to get that vibe of a very densely populated, more working class area where people are living, not as nice as the areas that we've been working on before. And then since there was still extra space above those buildings, I PO some, kind of shantytown looking buildings. I think there's a Thai shop house in there. And yeah, they just go on top of the commercial buildings. So they look like these informally built structures to pack even more people into this area, because there's still that extra space to fill. And then as we move a little further along under the highway, but away from our main street, we get a little bit more residential. So I change up the assets that I'm using a little bit and just continue building this neighborhood, which I absolutely love. It's directly underneath the highway. I mean, the whole thing is underneath the highway. And yeah, it's just, how ultra compact and dense Mona is. There's absolutely no sunlight here, but people will live here because they have no other choice. And one thing I specifically try to do is have the highway pillars unobstructed, so I don't clip any buildings through the pillars, because I just don't think it would make much sense for them to have built buildings wrapping around the pillars or anything like that. So and after that, we just try and make this area look a bit grungier, some old advertising and some graffiti and some tents as well, some homeless people living in this area, and lots of trash props around. And yeah, like I said, I just really, really love this neighborhood and how it looks here. So we're reaching the end of the episode now. If you enjoyed this video and you've watched this far, do consider leaving a like on this video if you know how that helps out. You can subscribe to the channel as well, that would be very much appreciated. We've gotten quite a number of new subscribers since the last episode came out, so yeah, thank you all of you that have joined us since then, and thanks for being here. I really appreciate any and all support for the videos. We will be back very soon for episode 6 of Mona, so until then, all of you, please take care of yourselves, and I'll see you then. Bye!